Welcome back to Life Sciences. Today we're looking at the cell. And before the break, we looked at all the different organelles that exist inside a cell. And we focused on a very important concept in a cell, and that is compartmentalization. We said that just as a train is divided into different compartments that are kept separate from each other, so in the cell, the different organelles have membranes around them to keep their functions separate from the rest of the cell. We need to look now at the function of the nucleus. This is a structure that appears in both plant and animal cells, and it's a very prominent structure. It's a very large structure in the cells, and it plays a vitally important role in the cells. So let's have a look at the nucleus now in great detail. First thing that you need to understand about the nucleus is that if any of the organelles needs to be compartmentalized, the nucleus is one of them. Imagine if you had extremely important documents that there was only one copy in the whole world and you owned those documents. Would you allow your friends to borrow those documents, and would you allow people just to look at them and take them away from you? I don't think so. I think you'd keep those documents in a very, very safe place, particularly if the information that was on those documents there were no other copies of. And that's what it's like with your nucleus. Inside your nucleus, you've got your DNA, which contains all the recipes for making all the proteins in your body. And each cell only has one copy of the DNA. So it cannot allow the DNA to go out into the cell or to become lost or to become damaged, because then the cell would not be able to function. And any cells that were made from that cell would also be damaged, and so there would be huge problems. The secret to keeping that DNA safe and secure is to keep it inside its own compartment. And the compartment that keeps the nucleus safe is the nuclear membrane. And so the nuclear membrane is wrapped all around the nucleus, but it does have little pores in it, little spaces in it. And we'll have a look at some of those spaces and see what they are there for. It is filled with nucleoplasm, which is very similar to cytoplasm. It has a dark spot inside it called the nucleolus. We'll look at the function of that soon. And it has the chromatin network, the all-important chromatin network, which is in fact the DNA. That is what the membrane structure of the nucleus is protecting. Now this is a line diagram of a nucleus. What does the real thing look like? This is an electron micrograph, which is a photograph taken with an electron microscope. And it magnifies the nucleus many, many thousands of times so that you can see the structures. Now, we saw the structures in the line diagram. Can you identify them in this micrograph? Well, I think the easiest place to start is, of course, here is the double membrane that surrounds the nucleus. You can see that membrane going all the way around the nucleus. On the outside of that membrane, you can see other structures in the cell. Can you identify that? Of course, it's the endoplasmic reticulum. And the granular substance on the outside is all the cytoplasm. We said that the nuclear membrane had pores in it. And here you can very clearly see where each one of these little arrows appears. There is a nuclear pore. We'll look at the structure of the nuclear pores with a different micrograph in a little while. Can you remember what this dark structure was called? That was the nucleolus. Don't get those two terms mixed up. The nucleus is the big main structure, and the nucleolus is this little part inside it. And then we've got this granular substance which is made up of the chromatin, all mixed in with the nucleoplasm. So that double nuclear membrane compartmentalizes the nucleus and keeps the nucleus separate from the rest of the cell. This is a different micrograph that shows the surface of the nucleus, and it shows all of those little nuclear pores. Some very small molecules, such as RNA, can move in and out of the nucleus, but the pores are far too small to let the very precious DNA move out of the nucleus. It's stuck inside the nucleus and it's kept very safely inside there indeed. The nucleolus appears as that very dense or dark area inside the nucleus, and the nucleolus makes RNA and it also makes ribosomes. Now, why should ribosomes and RNA be important to the nucleus? Why must they be made inside the nucleus? Well, in a later lesson, we're going to look at protein synthesis, and we're going to see that protein synthesis relies on ribosomes and it relies on RNA. And so inside the nucleus is a little factory for making RNA and making ribosomes. And of course, that whole space is filled with a nucleoplasm, which is a jelly-like substance very similar to the cytoplasm, where all the chromosomes or chromatin network floats around. After the break, we're going to be looking at the structure of chromosomes and why we call it chromosomes and chromatin network. What is the difference? So focus on us again after the break and we'll have a look at chromosomes.